welcome to Free Spirit and welcome to a special spirit message and tip. And it's been coming up in the comments a lot. And I know I mentioned this throughout my channel on various videos, but I don't believe I posted a separate message about it. And it came up recently when I posted, how to know and trust your own divine connection and your own divine abilities. If you haven't seen that spirit message, definitely read that in. It kind of was a video to leave behind for others, to save them from what I've personally experienced, that you have to know and trust your own divine connection. And this video is all about gather your own spiritual evidence. Gather your own spiritual evidence. So it just came up again in the comments and I wanted to do a separate message. So excited to share this. Actually, I get more excited whenever I touch on this subject. And so just to make sure I cover it all, I'll put it all in the job description. I actually wrote down key factors so in my excitement I don't miss anything, because this is one of my favorite topics. It is so much my favorite topic that literally gather your own spiritual evidence. I cannot say this enough, because people can tell you of things, people can point things out, but there is nothing like gathering your own spiritual evidence. And it is so important because it only helps you know and trust your own divine connection. And the more you find and the more you gather, the more you're open and receive more. And I will tell you something really special. This card right here that says United in the Air. I took a picture of this. This is part of the Natural Oracle for Life. That Natural Oracle for Life, that was the first deck I ever created. I will literally say it was over a course of many years of taking pictures, of literally gathering my own spiritual evidence. Anytime I saw spirit outside myself, that I felt a wave of love, and I felt I got a sign, symbol, message, I took a picture. That's what the pictures are. So I'm sharing that with you because that was my own divine journey that only amplified my own connection, my own abilities. People talk about coins, people talk about feathers, people talk about messages, they talk about clear cognizant, clear knowing, clear audience, everything. But I'm telling you, spirit speaks through anything. Don't ever limit yourself to only things you've only previously heard. Anytime you see a sign, symbol, message, and you feel a wave of love, it is a feeling that almost goes through your whole body and you feel it, capture it. That's what it's called, gathering your own spiritual evidence. So when we talk about gathering your own spiritual evidence, it is so important, okay? Because let me just read what they made me almost jot down. But the reason why it's so important, and especially in this world today, it has never been easier. Listen, when I was a kid, this is going to age me. I know I sound young, but I mean, we did not have internet. We did not have email. I had to write it down. You would lose it. I had folders of evidence, right? I would write down and save it in a folder. Then when you had email, I would email myself. Then I started taking pictures. But now in technology today, you can capture it in so many ways. So capture your evidence. Take a picture of it, take a video of it, email yourself what happened. There was a lot of times I would just email the experience to myself so I had the documentation. And I'm telling you why it's so important to do that, and I have goosebumps, because very often we're so moved in the moment, but it's just a moment, and then we forget. And then days go by, months go by, and we don't feel as connected. But if you had captured it in some way, you will be able to relive that. You will remember the closeness of that. It will bring you back to that. It will remind you that you are indeed united, right? Not only that, but what is truly amazing is you don't realize how many signs, symbols, messages you get until you start gathering it, until you could see the accumulation of it. Back in the day when I used to email myself, I would have to scroll through all my emails to get to that message. I couldn't see the quantity. Then I started printing out my emails and putting them in books. I would have binders of spirit messages. I remember as a kid having binders of spirit messages. I, in fact, remember a family friend saying, geez, I mean, they were a little almost like scared, I think, because I was a kid seeing these profound things that they were like, it was weird. So I do want to say, you don't even have to share what you're getting. It could be a personal feeding. Okay, I want to touch on that too. It could be a personal feeding. Sometimes when we put words to it, you lose the whole experience. You can't capture or relate what you've experienced, no matter how many adjectives you try. Don't let it take away. Like when you share your experience or what you got, and say you're not getting the proper reaction, don't discount your experience. Gather your own evidence. Give credibility to your own evidence. And the more you capture it, the more it accumulates. It will be there for you when you need. And you will see in evidence form, whether it's a picture, a video, an email, You will see just how many you get, because I get a lot of comments. I don't get a lot of signs. I don't get this. You'll be amazed if you start documenting. I don't care if you write it down, take a picture, take a video, email yourself what happened. Um, it will accumulate. Create a folder on your email. Every time you email yourself what happened, create a folder, signs, or capturing it, or gathering my evidence. Because you don't have to have a binder like I had to do in the old days. Take a video, take a picture. Um, Write it down. If you have trusted individuals who are on the same level as you that you can share your experiences, definitely share it. But I do say be wary with that, because even your closest friends, family, people you adore and love, they may not be at the same place you are, and don't let that discourage you in any way. Listen, we have beautiful, loving people and relationships, but we're not all in the same place spiritually. They don't even get the terms or the thing. Like, it's okay if you're completely on your own journey. Drink it in, like they always say, like a personal feeding. Okay, so let me read what they said. It really is so important to gather your own quote unquote spiritual evidence. You may not even realize how much you do get until you start doing it, making it even more apparent just how often, all the different ways, even. So, we are talking about signs, symbols, messages, images, guidance, anything showing up in your life that you just quote unquote know is a sign and message from spirit for you. And when I'm talking about spirit, this means loved ones passed on, spirit guides, angels. This moment, I was walking the streets of New York. It was the lowest day of my life. I even forgot. It's so funny when things are so horrible and you like, but you forget years later what it was. But I do remember the moment of feeling so alone in the experience. I was kind of alone, like there was no one to really talk to about it. I just remember feeling very alone in whatever I was feeling at the moment. And I looked up, and there was you. And I was missing my father. Of course, I mentioned, has passed on, and a lot of loved ones in my life. It seemed like everyone whom I truly had, who knew me, who loved me, who adored, they're all passing left and right. I felt it was like one of those times. I look up in the sky, and there was United. And I felt such a wave. There is no description, from my head all the way down to my toes. I mean, I stopped in my tracks. I took a picture. I felt bathed. It lasted a while. I felt very connected. I knew in that moment I was not alone. I'm telling you, that's all it is. It's like seeing a sign, symbol, message. Look, this is not a coin. This is not a feather. This is not. That's what I'm saying. Don't remain confined to only what you've heard. When you see something, or something catches your eye, or it hits you in a different vibration, and then you feel a wave of love, do not discount it, document it, capture it, gather your own spiritual evidence. Let it feed you. They're giving it to us to feed us, whether it's love, comfort, support, that. They're feeding us. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So when I talk about spirit, it's loved ones passed on, your spirit guides, angels, things like that. So, like they said, in this new wonderful world of technology today, not when I was a child, you can gather and capture it so much more than any other time. You can email yourself, you can take a picture, you can take a video, gather your evidence. It will feed you. Not just the moment you see it, but again and again whenever you view it. Just look at when I'm viewing this. I remember exactly how this felt. This is very important because it only puts an exclamation mark that you are indeed united. It reminds you of that feeling, and that you can share it with trusted individuals. You can revel in it whenever you need another quote unquote spirit pick me up, like I like to say. When you need a spirit pick me up, you can whip them out, you can review it, you can go back over it, you could read it, you could look at it. Most of all, you won't miss them, but instead, also, you will see just how many you really accumulate when it's not just lost in a moment and quickly gone. If I didn't take a picture, this would have been long forgotten, right? It fed me in the moment. Maybe it would last, the memory would last a day, a week, a month. But if I didn't capture it, I would not be brought instantly to this moment, a remembrance, an upliftment. It feeds you. It's a recurring feeding. It will show you, it reminds you that there are so many you get, and also it reminds you you actually get so many, and in so many different ways. And that's the other thing, you get it in so many different ways. So remain open. It doesn't have to be explanatory to anybody else. It's your own evidence. Gather your own evidence. It will show you and remind you there are so many you get in so many different ways. It also reminds you to always be open and almost expectant of them to show up. And let me tell you, remain open and expectant. I shared on this channel one time last year, I had a real scare in the family, health concerns as we're leaving to the hospital. I was like, give me a sign that everything's going to be okay. At my feet was a coin. Yes, that's a typical what they always people tend to talk about. But I looked at the coin on my feet. right outside of the door of my apartment. And as I went to pick it up, I was bathed. So it was a feeling. It wasn't just a coin, but then I had the feeling, the wave of bathing of love. And I picked it up. I went to the hospital, to be there for support. And I knew they would be okay. I knew they would be okay. It was like somebody, like spirit was holding my hand. And that's how it feels. It feels like they just reached down to hold your hand, to give you love, support, just say, we're here. You're not alone. It's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. And what do you know? They were okay. And what did I do? I saved that coin. I have a little plastic jar where whenever they give a coin, I save it in the jar. Now, it accumulated. I have many coins in there. Wherever the coin showed up when I needed that love and support, I pick up the coin, I put it in a special place, like like a little glass jar, and now I see there's an accumulation of coins. This is what they're talking about. So you're reminded. If I just picked it up, put it in my pocket, forgot about it, mixed it with the rest of my coins, it was only for the moment, only for the day, only for the week. But now that I still have the jar, I'm constantly reminded that they are indeed here, that they do show up, that you have the evidence. Gather your evidence. You'll be amazed how much accumulates. That's number one. And also, you're getting fed more than just in that moment. You're constantly being fed. Whenever I look over to that jar, I'm constantly fed. Okay, and so it reminds you to always be open and almost expectant of them to show up, and they do, and they will even more. Why? Because you're even open and you're like open to receive it. And enjoy gathering your own spiritual evidence. And the key mention that they want to say also, it can be anything. I did mention that in the beginning, but this is really important. It can be anything, and not just in a way you have previously seen or heard of. So if you feel it, that's the key. However it shows up. I mean, I have been moved by graffiti on a sidewalk. I've been moved by, it just shows up in divine timing. It's like a wink wink from the universe. Take a picture, take a video, write it down, email yourself, but you will see it accumulates, and gather your own spiritual evidence. Gather your own spiritual evidence. It's so beautiful. And we're forever united, just like this card said. It literally says, you are forever united with those that have passed on and with spirits unseen. Feel united with them wherever you go. They are there and will show you signs along the way. You're forever united. Gather your own spiritual evidence. Take care. Bye bye.